focus to another company that announced numbers yesterday, and the market quite clearly was happy with those numbers. References to Idea Cellular volume growth was at 5.8% for the whole company. For the company as a whole, revenues were up 4.5%, and the EBITDA margins as well improved a tad. Himanshu Kapania, Managing Director, is with us. Good morning, Mr. Kapania. Thanks much. More importantly, can you maintain the run rate, both in terms of revenues and in terms of margins? It's getting a tougher world. Will you be able to maintain it for the rest of the year?
Thank you so much, Lata, and thank you also for inviting me on the show this morning. You're absolutely right. We've had a sequential quarter growth of 4.5% in revenues and 6.5% in EBITDA. And I will also remind the viewers that this revenue growth is in spite of three major changes in regulatory and tax charges. Number one, IOC rates, which was earlier at 20 paisa per minute, has declined to 14 paisa per minute from 1st March 2015. The roaming rates upper cap has been reduced by 20 to 75%. And number three, there is the service tax, which was effective from 1st June, has increased from 12.36 to 14%. And some of the fees is not possible to pass through to consumers. In spite of this, we've had a 4.5% sequential revenue growth and 16.4% growth. And if we were to normalize for these changes, we would have a year-on-year growth of around 21%. The point I'm trying to make is that if you're happy with the current set of numbers, this impact of IOC will settle going forward. And there is a huge amount of potential that remains in the country, both in terms of voice primarily in the rural markets, as well as large potential of mobile broadband. India has just about 10% penetration of mobile broadband. 3G customers on a nationwide basis for the industry is hardly at a level of 80 to 85 million, and the journey is to go to 1 billion. So we've just about begun this journey. So I think there is so much more potential in this sector.
Sure. Mr. Kapania, good morning. Congratulations on a stable set of numbers this quarter. I just wanted some more color on, the data pricing, because that has moderated this quarter. I mean, it's great for users like us who use data all the time, but for a company like yours, do you see more pressure as far as data pricing is concerned, purely because of how competitive the environment has become?
Good morning, Sonia.
Morning.
We've always enjoyed conversing with you, and I remember you always in support of customers, both in voice and data prices. But yes, there is no doubt there is competitive pressure on data rates, as is competitive pressure on voice rate. And over the year, data rates have declined by 6.5%. While largely this is on account of market pressures, there is one factor which also needs to be kept into mind, is the service tax rate change. Most of data is a fee-based model that we follow, and at a fixed price point. And once the service tax changes, it was not possible to pass through this service rate change in the last 1 month. And some of the fall, which is very steep on a sequential quarter basis, is on account of that. But having said that, we are in a journey of building mobile broadband and internet users. Idea has only 22.9% of its overall EOP base of 165 million, which currently access internet from their mobile at a level of 37 million. And this journey is going to be much larger. So we have to remain focused on ARPU rather than rate. Our volume growth has been very robust. On a year-on-year basis, our volume growth is 93 to 94%. We are fairly confident that this should go up rather than fall down going forward, as we're building up a very large infrastructure, both expanding our 2G coverage, as well as expanding mobile broadband coverage on 3G. And yesterday we announced our plans for launch of 4G in a phased manner in calendar year 2016.
Okay. Mr. Kapania, that said, if you have to get to that kind of a national reach, you also have too much competition, and RelJio will be coming up anytime soon. You have been upping your capex, but that is also telling on the P&L. Your finance charges have risen to about 401 crore this quarter, which means on a year-on-year basis, instead of 1,000 crore interest outgo, you would be paying what, 1,600 crore? That's a 60% rise in finance charge. Will not your net start getting impacted?
So let me answer this question into two parts. First part is which is in the interest of a stock market and short-term players, as well as the larger component, the greater purpose that for the reason why Idea Cellular exists, which is in the interest of the country. So as specifically as far as your interest charge component is concerned, I'd like to remind you, and we've had a number of good discussions, that Idea Cellular has participated in March 2015 and had purchased spectrum for a value of 30,000 crores. Out of that, we paid advance payments of 7,700 crores, as well as in March 2014. We also participated and bought spectrum worth 10,000 crores, and we've in the last quarter, in fact at the end of last quarter, we launched a daily network, and which was earlier getting capitalized. All of that has started to reflect in our balance sheet, and going forward we've already had this discussion. Some of these will start appearing at once all the spectrum which has been acquired by us is allocated by Department of Telecommunication. But this is very much built into the numbers by most analysts.
Okay.
The more important component is going forward, India, which has just about very small infrastructure, it's a very large country, and 1 billion people are waiting to transform themselves from their analog lifestyle to a digital lifestyles. And company like Idea Cellular is very much in the fray to be able to provide this massive infrastructure. We believe a huge transformation is going to take place in the country, and this mobile broadband is going to lead this transformation. And the next level of GDP growth of the country will be driven by ICT, where communication is going to play a very important role, and sectors like ours is going to play a very important role. And Idea Cellular remains committed to be able to make sure that we participate in this growth.
Oh yeah, we are waiting for that GDP growth, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Kapania, for joining us with those details. Okay, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we continue our focus on the city of Bengaluru, which gave the city its first crop of wealth creators from the IT sector. We will ask one of those wealth creators, actually, V. Balakrishnan, the former CFO of Infosys, about the IT sector and about the next generation of wealth creators.